Okay, this is Dale Midoriya. Welcome to Back Breaking News episode 101. Today we'll be talking about the weird copyright rules of YouTube. Okay, to explain this, all there's two different copyright strikes you could get. One that is partially blocked. There's actually three. One that could be partially blocked in some countries, one that has no effect on the channel, and one that blocks the video entirely. And essentially, it just depends who the copyright owner is if you will get one of those. So, you could, for example, I could play any wrestling theme I wanted and not get a copyright strike that would affect me. But if I played like a Beatles song, you could get banned or worse. But this does not affect like people who have like 1,000 or like even 1,600, not 600, 6,000, a million subscribers. It affects smaller channels who have like 194 like me. And copyright laws are unjustly unfair for smaller creators. But there's some cases, for example, one time I played a wrestling game, WWE 2K22. Or no, it was WWE 2K23. And I was playing the showcase mode while talking like this, and the problem arose because they played actual clips from the match in the showcase mode, which before they would never do, and I got copyrighted for that by WWE, which was unjust. But the crazier part is, I could look up WWE 2K Showcase Mode in full, and it have all the same things I played, and not get copyrighted. It's essentially, the bigger you are, the less punished you'll get. Essentially, they don't care if I use their theme songs, but this is not to call out any certain company or anything. I'm just speaking the truth about the copyright system. Yeah, essentially, it's rigged. Certain people, they will let you use it, certain people they won't. There are certain ways to get around the copyright issue, either not showing the material, showing the material but only showing pictures of it, or for songs, like singing your own version of it, or singing like a parody song because of parody law. Those are the only real workarounds from any copyrighted material. You could either just not play the song, either sing your own version of it, or somehow create the copywriter or put a disclaimer on the video ahead of time. But unjustly, it and I would say most certainly unfairly, it affects people who it shouldn't affect, the creators of the YouTube platform itself. And yes, companies could abuse their copyright power. Yes, and some companies have done this in the past. If you like, even though I liked AEW, anything talking bad about the company, they blocked, or they would fight about it. And essentially, YouTube here's how YouTube works. The more subscribers you have, the more they put you out there. So, someone like me could talk smack about AEW and not get necessarily punished because they stopped it. But they stopped doing that. But as long as I'm not asserted, that is not against the copyright claims of YouTube. Essentially, making fun of something for a joke would be under parody law. Essentially. And making fun of a company will not get you any trouble. The problem arises, the only way you could really get punished for that is if you're doing something harmful to the company. Like, something really harmful to the company, like trying to hack them, or, trying to destroy their property. That is a different story than making fun of a company for doing stuff that's obvious. And as a person who both took a law and business class, you should know that I understand, and who understands about a little bit about law at least, that to my copyright laws could only be in effect if you are directly taking their material, and that does not count if you have your voice over it. Essentially, if I talk over something, that essentially makes it mine, because I'm using your content, but I'm making it for my own. I'm not trying to directly copy you and claiming it's mine. Copyright is taking something and claiming it's yours. And that's essentially, especially with the music things I used to make, I never essentially took anything and claimed it was mine. I never did. And I know by law I couldn't. But blocking me just from using your material in a legal way is not just. And want me to tell you what made it even worse? The one Beatles song I played, I can pull this up on my computer. There's many people who just played the whole song through and making lyric versions of it. Didn't get any permission by the Beatles at all. So, it was a problem. It wasn't a problem when they did it, but when I did it, there was a problem. So, essentially, it's basically just politics. The problem was, I was saying how good the song was too. Like, if you, they're like, wouldn't you want your song to be promoted? Wouldn't you want your song to be promoted? Honestly. But hey, I digress. And also, there's a difference. Surprisingly, there's a difference between all that stuff and essentially, you cannot get sued for it. It just essentially takes down the video. But there is certain protections, as I said, covers, like song covers. Like if I sang the song myself, that made no sense. If I sung the song with my own lyrics, I could use the same instrumentals, but if I used my own vocals, that would technically not be copyrighted, because I'm using my own vocals for it. And it's... And then there's, like, parody law, which says I could use Mickey Mouse if I, specifically, I could use Mickey Mouse in any way I liked. Not because he's in public domain, the Steamboat Willie version, but because of parody law. Which means I could either make fun of a big company with a specific character, make jokes about a specific company with a character, or use the character in a way as for a parody. Like if I used Mickey Mouse, I called him Mickey Mouse, but I made him, under parody law, I would have to create a different name, but it would basically just be Mickey Mouse. See, parody law, I could create a character like Mickey Mouse, and Disney can't sue me. Otherwise, I could make fun of their product and them not sue me, because of parody law. Parody law protects people. And not many companies realize that. Even if it's a hack of a game, Nintendo has took down many games online because it's infringing on their copyright. But under parody law, that should have protected them. The US law is always going to take the big corporation side. So, the most important thing to know is just all politics and not to worry about anything, especially if you're starting a YouTube channel yourself. This has happened to almost every creator on this platform, and singly and justly, especially if you don't actually play much of the clip or anything, you can still... But it's different. If you react to another content creator, like say if I watched one of my friend's videos, that won't infringe on any copyright because it's on the internet for people to watch. You know, the difference between that and... I do not condone pirated material. That's a completely different set of marbles there, but essentially this is all I have to say. This is a Dave Midoriya. Goodbye!